KIRAKIRA! Now, this book is one of my all-time classics of all time for a few reasons. One, it has a Newbery Middle sticker on it. Two, it's a lot about sisters bonding, like siblings bonding together. It doesn't matter which gender. Three, it also talks about a little word I never knew, KIRAKIRA, which is the name of the book. KIRAKIRA, what KIRAKIRA? What does it actually mean? And since there's mostly blue, I thought it meant blue. But KIRAKIRA turns out to mean glittering and shining, and that's how Katie Takashima's sister, Lynn, Katie Takashima is the main character of the book, made everything seem like. It turned out that the sky was KIRAKIRA because it was in a deep color, but also see-through at the same time. The sea was for the same reason, and eyes, well, also the same reason. And also, why I also like this book is because it just talks about how bond ship for, I don't know, sisterhood, brotherhood, siblinghood might even work out, and how all this happens. And right now, KIRAKIRA seems to work out as much as I would think of. And, there's one person in the family who is the glue to everything, or the disaster to everything. Well, it turns out Lynn, the main character's sister, is that glue to her family. But when Lynn got terribly ill and has the possibility of dying, like 20%, 30%, it's leveling up. Everybody's frantic, and the family's starting to fall apart because the glue is just sort of failing to hold together like a little piece of string that's about to break apart for the whole wide world. But then, new glue has to come, right? Well, it turns out there will be new glue. It's just that the new glue isn't ready yet. And who could be the new glue? Well, you might have guessed it, Katie Takashima. She will be the new glue of the family. But how's she going to do that? Well, she herself doesn't really know, but this is exactly what she's probably going to do. Firstly, she will remind her family about glittering and also remind them to see past the future. That's what her sister Lynn taught her to do, to see past the future. And that's exactly how Katie sort of learned to get A's. At least A's. Now, Katie usually got C's, straight C's, all the way through school. And her father was pretty proud of the C's. Why? Why proud of C's? But before Lynn, she was very good at school and got straight A's. Never a B, never a C, never a D, and even never an A minus. And that's exactly what sort of happens here. Right now, KIRAKIRA is as much as any book I would think of. Well, Lynn is very good. Lynn is very good, and she had a very good life. She even wrote a diary and entry of her whole life here. She even wrote her last will in her diary. And this is her last will and testament. Dear diary, to my parents I leave the contents of my bank account, $5.47. To Sammy I leave the two $1 bills hidden in my top left desk drawer. I also leave all my toys in the candy bar in my bottom right desk drawer. To Katie I leave my diary, my dictionary, and my encyclopedia, which she had better use. Signed, Lynn Aiko Takashima. And this was written 4 days before she died, so that is a little depressing. Lynn was as a good person as ever as she could think of. I mean, she had a disease and she was going to die with the glue that she created. But when Katie saved her rescue by entering KIRAKIRA and showing KIRAKIRA to her parents, and actually giving a little KIRAKIRA to her parents herself, she opened up a whole new world to them. No, I do not mean this book called The Brave New World, but I'm talking more about making a new, more utopian, not exactly utopia, but more utopian world. And that's what we learned in KIRAKIRA. We learned that everything, or at least something, is glittering KIRAKIRA in the future. We also get to learn that we need to see past the future. That we need to see more about the future than we actually need to actually see. Usually when we see the future, we might think of planning and stuff. But I'm not talking about fortune telling here. I'm more thinking about planning for the future. And yes, planning more deeply about the future and thinking more about the future is a good theme in the story of KIRAKIRA. And that's the whole theme of KIRAKIRA. Which Katie Takashima might have been very awful to be an answer at because she is very bad at looking at themes, which is also what I am. I had to research a lot to find the theme of this book. But right now, KIRAKIRA is in the future. Something is glittering, and we just need to find that little spark of KIRAKIRA. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I just really enjoyed this book. And if you do enjoy this book, and if you did enjoy this book, if you read it or you haven't been able to read it yet, I highly recommend you do because it's a Newbery Honor book, which means it's like a must-read for a lot of people, and also that it's a very useful way to experience the world. One thing I have been able to notice through these novels is that every novel has been written for probably a common reason. To experience something, at least read something. Whenever we read something, we feel like that we're experiencing it, right? We've been writing novels because we just want to experience or at least perceive something that we could never actually experience in real life. And that's why novels or fiction was even created. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you did enjoy this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next episode. Shanine out. Peace.